Hey guys, welcome back to House of Chi Yoga. Today we're going to get into some warm-ups for your HIIT classes. So you can incorporate this video before you do a HIIT class, or you can take some of these movements and just do them quickly on your own for maybe 5 minutes before you start a HIIT class. I've got a band today and I'm just going to be doing some different work with the band. You don't have to have a band, and if you want to incorporate more things, you can also watch the more descriptive warm-up video. I have different tools, weights, rollers, that you can do some more stuff there. So first thing I do is I take the band and I place it at the ankles. And I'm just doing some backwards walking. You're going to see me kind of moving across the screen, but we'll just do this a few times. If you have a longer distance, or if you're outside, maybe you have the ability to go outside and do some backwards walking for about a minute. So what I'm going to be doing here is focusing on opening up the toes, being really intentional with the stepping, trying to keep my feet in line with the hips. I'm keeping a little bit of resistance laterally as well, so the outside of the hip is working, the glutes are working. I'm going to sink a little bit lower so my core is active, my hips are active. You can go all the way towards a squat a few times if you want to, but most importantly is waking up the foot, the ankle, and then lifting up into the knee. We'll go a couple more passes here. Maybe you can take the step a little bit wider. You can see how my heel is lifting high, and then my foot is peeling down to the ground. I'm also getting a nice push when I pull the heel down. It's stretching the back of my ankle. It's starting to open the back of my calf here. And then I'm just going to change it up and do any kind of movement with my band to create some resistance and work through the hips. So you can do some little karaoke steps. You can do some little forward kicks, abdominals locked into place here. You're finding your hip flexors. And I like to do the backwards ones as well, making sure I'm not throwing my chest forward. I'm staying nice and tall, so as I lift, it's firing up the glutes and the hamstrings. Let's go a couple more times front to back. Still being aware of what's happening in the toes, what's happening in the feet. Last one, checking out the body, feeling what needs to happen here in the low body. Felt like I needed some more steps there. Okay, then I'm going to come back through center and just wiggle the band off of the ankle and onto the actual foot. Now half the band is underneath my foot, half is on top. Adding some lifts here. I already did a little bit for my hip flexors, so now I'm going to focus really deeply on the core and that crunch as I lift the knee up. So you're connecting the hips with the abdominals. Keep the planted foot pushing down so you feel the glutes firing up. We don't want to tilt the pelvis forward and go into a round. We want to stay neutral pelvis. Now we're not pulling into the back body here. And then I'm going to add any kind of circling, going front and back. I already feel my hips pretty warm, so we'll do just a couple more. Remember, we're not really looking for a workout here. We're just trying to lubricate the joints. We're trying to get the muscles active, the blood flowing, so that we're ready to safely move into our HIIT class. Keeping the band at the feet, let's just go backwards, or right to left from here. Not backwards, we're getting into the lateral hip. Take your hands to your glute muscles. We're not using momentum here, you're using this outer hip and the outer glute here. And you only need a few of these before you start feeling it. And then we'll land at hips distance. Now the toes are gonna go wide, and then I'm gonna pull them back to center. Really important to stay strong in your core here. And if you're ready, you can start bending the knees a little bit, moving towards squat position. Maybe you can go all the way down to a deeper squat. And then if you have it already in your practice, you can go all the way to the bottom into the stretch squat. You get a really nice full range of motion there. Let's go one more at the bottom. I'm going to plant my hands on the floor and just move into a forward fold. Now keep the big toe down especially. Keep the heels down, open up the hamstring muscles. Maybe lean right to left, not letting any part of the foot come up. And then you can push through the feet and unroll the body. Now I'm going to take the band off and move it to my arms. So this is where if you have weight, you can grab some weights. I always just do it with a band just out of convenience, but I'm staying strong in the arms. And same thing with the hips. I'm just adding any kind of movement just to feel the shoulders starting to warm up, feel the back muscles connecting, also feel the chest muscles starting to expand and work. I love these little push-pulls up and overhead. And depending on which HIIT class you do, if you know which one you're going to do, you know what workouts are there, then you can kind of mimic the workout with this little bit of resistance training with the band. And then all the muscles you need to fire up, you'll for sure have fired up. Then I'm going to grab the band and just gently pull it apart. Now when I do this one, I'm trying not to use my arm muscles as much as I'm using the rhomboids. I'm using the back. So I'm thinking about pulling my scaps together. Let's go for 3, 2, and 1. I'm going to place the band at the wrist and bring my hands down. Now my hands are far enough that there is some resistance on the band, and the index finger is pointing forward. The other fingertips are fanned way out wide. From here, I'm just going to stay in quadruped. Elbow creases are extending forward. You're going to squeeze the scaps together and then push the scapula away from each other. So you feel some nice rounding, some work through the spine. The arms stay long, and you're focused on that scap squeeze and scap press. Let's go 2 more. Be intentional with your breathing here. Push the floor away from you. Let's keep this opening space. Chin tucks to the chest. You can kind of move around, feel the back muscles there. And then we'll come back to a neutral spine. Take the band off. We don't need that unless you have a band that allows you to go a little bit wider. My band is small, so I can't do any push-ups with it. I like a really wide stance for my push-ups. And I usually do push-ups against the wall, but I don't have a wall here, so I'm going to unfortunately have to do some push-ups on the floor. If you have a wall and you're not ready to do full push-ups, you can use it, or just lower your knees like I'm doing and find a couple push-ups. And we already did the shoulder work. We already did the scap work. So now think about still pulling the scaps together and then pulling them apart during your push-up. I'll go 3, 2, and 1. And then let's hit a downward facing dog. Anything that feels good there, let the hips move around, let the shoulders move around. And then we'll bring it on up to stand. We're going to finish up with some knee work. So this is all the knees over toes guy. That's his name on Instagram. I just always incorporate these into I try to do them every single day, but especially if I'm doing a HIIT workout, I always spend a few minutes doing his work. So hopefully you can see my feet well enough. And I always do these against a wall. I could use this back wall just to show you. But if you're home and you have a wall, face the wall so both of your hands can be stabilized. And then you can really focus on the feet and the ankles. So from here, I'm going to drive my heel up and actively push the foot or the ball of the foot and the toes down into the ground. Now, I don't want to see any bouncing like this. I want to lift and release. If this isn't enough work for you, you want more weight in the ball of the foot, you can bend the knee, or you can do 1 foot at a time. This is going to add a lot more work for the calf muscles. For these, I usually do 2 sets of 10 or 2 sets of 20. If you're just starting these, start with 2 sets of 10. If you've been doing them for a couple weeks and you feel like you're ready, you can add on to 2 sets of 20. Let's go a couple more. As you lift up into your toes, you're still feeling the core connecting. I'm going to hold on this last one and release down. I don't know if that was 20, but that'll be good for now. Okay, this last one I can't really show you correctly, but you want your shoulders against a wall behind you. So I'm going to do it against the cement wall behind me, but you won't really be able to see my angle, so just try to follow along to the directions. My shoulders are against this freezing cement wall, and then my feet are stepping away from the wall, at least a foot or 2. Now, the farther from the wall, the harder this move is. So start a little bit closer to the wall, about a foot and a half, and then gradually you can work your way farther forward. So my shoulders are there on the wall, my feet are forward. Now I'm at this nice angle. Now I'm keeping the legs long and just peeling the toes up towards the shins. Again, we're not bouncing here. It's an active pull towards the shin and release towards the floor. So the work is on the way up. The work is pulling the toes off of the floor. Same thing here with the abdominals. We're staying nice and engaged through the abs. There's no pressure on the knee. We're not pushing down into the knee joints. Be careful if you naturally hyperextend the knee. Maybe pull out of the knee joint a little bit more using your quad muscles. I'm going to go for 5, 4, 3, thinking about the muscles in the ankle, holding, and then releasing. So let's do 2 more sets, 1 of each of 10, just for video's sake. You can always do more on your own. I'm going to start by lifting the heels. 9, 10, and then 1 more set of 10 with the toes. So making sure you have that nice slant on the body. 5, 6, 7, intentional through the shins. 10, and release. Now the last one I do, you can use the wall or not. I'm just going to place my hands on my hips for stability purposes. 1 foot is planted, 1 leg is long, and now if you see me from the side here, this leg is just extended away from the body and I'm holding it nice and strong. This planted leg is the one doing the work, so I'm going to bend and just do 10 of these. 5, keeping the big toe down, making sure this floating leg is just holding still and this planted leg is doing the work. We'll go ahead and switch. It's hard to count and talk at the same time, but I want you to really work into the quads here as well. Let's go 1 more. So make sure the quads are active, and I just go right to left on these. 10, 10, 10, 10. 9, 10. Last one. 2. It does help to have a wall. It allows you to really work on the leg and pay attention to that, and pay attention around the knee joint instead of also having to focus on balancing. Okay, that's it. So now I usually do a run before a HIIT class. I'll either turn the timer on and I'll do 40 seconds of running, 20 seconds of either stretching or just sitting and breathing, or maybe doing some lunging or something if I know that's coming into my HIIT class. Because this is a video, I'm just going to do a little bit of cardio warm-up here. If you have outside space, go out and go for a quick jog around your block or something. Spend about 3 to 5 minutes just getting the heart rate up, and then you'll be totally ready for your HIIT class. So because we're inside, I'm just going to add some jumping jacks. Sure, it would be nicer if we had music today. And then landing with the feet wide and popping the knees up. You're staying nice and light in the feet. You're staying very active in the toes and very active in the core. Back to your jumping jacks. Nine, 10, back to your quick feet. Let's go jumping jacks. We're going to do 2 more sets. 9, 10, landing wide, popping the knees up. Last set of jacks. 8, 9, 10, landing wide. Let's go 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Keep the toes nice and light. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Okay. So even a few seconds will get the heart rate up and you'll be ready for your HIIT class. If you know the movements you're doing, for instance, if I know that I have a deep lunge in my HIIT class, I maybe would have used a lunge jump for that cardio pace. So have fun with that. Use that anywhere you need to. That's also a really good 10-minute just getting prepped for the day, getting prepped for moving the body, getting the joints warmed up and active. You can use that anywhere just for health and what's the word I'm looking for? Not restoration, but keeping things nice and healthy and moving as we age and move along. So enjoy that one. I'll see you next time on the House of Chi.